Welcome everyone, this is Andre's Restart, and this time we are talking about some new story details that have come out for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. There's this interview from The Telegraph that was conducted with the director for the Zelda series, Hidemaro Fujibayshi, who revealed an explanation as to why the Sheikah technology is not really anywhere to be found in Tears of the Kingdom. So we're going to be talking about these new details and how it relates to the overall story and lore for Tears of the Kingdom, and if there's anything else going on here that they might be hinting at. But before going forward, let me point out that we are aiming to reach 50,000 subscribers, so if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit that notification bell, and enjoy the ride as we talk about Nintendo every day. So before getting into the interview, let me explain that there's a decent amount of people that were confused as to what was going on with all the Sheikah technology in Tears of the Kingdom, because for the most part, it isn't really there. There was a lot of Sheikah technology all throughout Breath of the Wild. There were shrines, guardians, towers, even these giant divine beasts that function as the dungeons for the game. Almost all of that is gone in Tears of the Kingdom. Now, there were the towers that they repurposed from clearly some Sheikah technology, but it seems that that's not where all of it went. Most of it disappeared. So let's get into the interview. They disappeared after the Calamity was defeated, sealed. Fujibayshi explains. All the people of Hyrule also witnessed this, but there is no one who knows the mechanism or reason why they disappeared, and it is considered a mystery. It is believed that since the Calamity disappeared, they also disappeared as the role had been fulfilled. It is anyway commonplace for mysterious events and strange phenomena to occur in Hyrule. Thus, people have simply assumed the reason behind the disappearance to likely be related to ancient Sheikah technology, and it seems there is no one who has tried to explore the matter further. The main civilizations in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are completely different. So we thought about the game based on concepts that match each of these civilizations. So the basic explanation here is that because Calamity Ganon was defeated, the Sheikah technology disappeared. But some people take issue with this, because one, some would have liked to have seen this explanation actually in the game itself. But then others just think this may not be much of a satisfactory answer. The interview does talk about how Calamity Ganon was sealed, but Calamity Ganon was sealed many times. Calamity Ganon throughout thousands of years came back time and time again and would be repelled. So the Sheikah technology remained to thwart those efforts. So why would the version of Calamity Ganon that's defeated in the time of Breath of the Wild be the final time that would lead to the Sheikah technology no longer having a purpose and thus being able to move on and disappear from the world? Well, as we understand the Sheikah technology, it was built during a time where Hyrule was prospering. They were very advanced. And it's said that the history of Calamity Ganon is tied to the history of Hyrule. And considering what we understand about Tears of the Kingdom and how we met the initial king and queen of Hyrule, Rauru and Sonia, and then Ganondorf is sealed deep underground of Hyrule, and from what we understand, that appears to be the source of Calamity Ganon, so it kind of makes sense that that history was there. So before the prospering of the Zonai civilization that was before the Kingdom of Hyrule that we know today, there was this prospering civilization in the beginning, once Ganondorf was sealed underground Hyrule, where there was a Sheikah who advanced and created this tech, and Calamity Ganon likely started to have its attacks, and that's how they responded to this, by building Sheikah technology. And it was always put there to repel these attacks. But in the case of Breath of the Wild, once it's done, there are signs suggesting that there are changes. Because, at the very end, Zelda is going with Link to Zora's domain because Varuta, the divine beast of the Zoras, is no longer working, and they're going to explore why. So there, technically, you could argue, that's already hinting that something is happening to Sheikah technology because of the defeat of Calamity Ganon. And while it may be somewhat left for debate if this version of Calamity Ganon is gone for good, when we account for the fact that Tears of the Kingdom shows that it is, that kind of explains things. Because in the beginning of Tears of the Kingdom, Link and Zelda go underground because of the Gloom, which is not the same thing as malice. And they're trying to explore the root of this and why it's happening, and they discover that it's from Ganondorf. And Ganondorf is no longer trying to just build up malice over time to become Calamity Ganon and destroy the world, but rather he is resurrecting fully and truly to just do it himself finally. The seal broke away. So there's two different potential explanations here. One, the seal finally wore away as it eventually would, and that's why the Calamity Ganon truly ceased, and then it's just Ganondorf. But also you could argue that Zelda used the power of the Triforce to seal away Calamity Ganon permanently at the end of Breath of the Wild. My perspective is that Zelda did completely eliminate the Calamity Ganon that we saw in Breath of the Wild. However, if the root of it all is that corpse of Ganondorf that's sealed underground, and malice can emanate from it or slowly pour out, my perspective is that if they never went down there, and the seal never truly fully broke away, the malice would build up again, and Calamity Ganon will return, but it would be a new Calamity Ganon from new malice that's poured out of the corpse of Ganondorf. But because the seal was finally truly breaking away, Ganondorf was finally ready to change the strategy, and that's why we saw the Gloom, that's why Link and Zelda went underground, and that's how he was fully resurrected, and that leads to all the events of Tears of the Kingdom. But back to the main point, the explanation here is that the Sheikah technology disappeared because it was no longer needed. And there's also two ways we can look at this. So when they say disappear, maybe just like how the Sheikah monks disappeared once they served their purpose, maybe literally the technology itself also disappeared eventually. And it's just that simple. The monks were around for thousands of years, even though they shouldn't be around for that long, and the Sheikah Tech itself has also been around for a very long time, perhaps so long that it also could just dematerialize away once the time is right. But another possible explanation has to do with Ganondorf pivoting into using Gloom as opposed to just malice. In the interview, it said that it is believed that since the Calamity disappeared, they also disappeared as the role had been fulfilled. That doesn't mean it's known. So I would argue it's still up for debate about what actually happened to the Sheikah technology. It could have been the Gloom, it could have been by Ganondorf's design to get rid of all the Sheikah Tech so it won't be used again to take him out, to give him extra opposition. Considering that the Gloom was able to destroy different materials like even the Master Sword, I could see them being able to destroy all the Sheikah technology as well. And I kind of like this explanation a little bit more, because another part of the interview mentions, it seems there's no one who has tried to explore the matter further. And what bothers me about that, or makes me question what's going on here, is the fact that there's actually a large group of people in Tears of the Kingdom that are very much interested in the mysteries of Hyrule. They're deeply analyzing the Zonai ruins. And Purah and Robbie are definitely not the kind of people that would just let a mystery go unquestioned. They would want to find out what's going on. So maybe it's the case that eventually the Gloom, maybe early parts of it before it was very apparent what was going on, eliminated the Sheikah technology as opposed to it just disappearing. I say that with air quotes. And because of the curiosity of Purah and Robbie, they led Link and Zelda to exploring more deeply what's going on with the Gloom of Hyrule, which leads to the event of Tears of the Kingdom. Of course, that's just my speculation, but I would argue that the way the interview is conveyed and the way Nintendo in general talks about story details for Tears of the Kingdom or any Zelda game, they say things that leave room for debate or discussion, which is why they say they believed or it seems. In other words, there isn't a 100% certainty. There's room for interpretation. There's flexibility there. And that's part of the fun of Zelda lore, in my opinion. There's always a debate. There's always a theory to be made. But anyways, those are my thoughts on the recent news regarding the disappearance of the Sheikah technology in Tears of the Kingdom. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. This is Andres Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.